Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. I'm Daniel McCrane. I'm a business and growth strategist with McCrane Associates. I work with small business owners to implement strategies in their business that generate thousands of dollars of revenue and profit without spending money on marketing or advertising. Lately, I've been getting a lot of requests and a lot of questions from people who are beginning to start businesses. Certainly, this has been an interesting year for starting businesses. There have been a lot of business owners who have started new businesses during this pandemic, during a shutdown. And more power to you, by the way. We know that statistically, there have been a lot of very large companies that have been started during economic downturns. There were a lot of companies that were started during 2008, during that meltdown, during the Great Recession. Prior to that, we know there were large companies that were created during other shutdowns. Major companies that we know today that were created even during the Great Depression of last century. So we know that there's opportunity even during an economic downturn. And I know that you know this as well as I do. The statistics of survival for a small business are pretty dismal. Some statistics say as many as 9 out of 10 businesses fail, whether that's even during the first year. Some statistics say that it's during the first year. Some say that it's within the first 5 years that 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Regardless, that's a lot of businesses that end up folding, that go out of business. And the reality is it may end up really being a higher number than that. Some of these businesses don't get reported. There are different types of businesses that don't have to apply for any kind of registration with the state. So they don't end up on the Small Business Association statistics. So the reality is it could be much, much higher than that. It could be something more like maybe 19 businesses out of 20, maybe 49 out of 50, maybe 99 out of 100 businesses fail in the first year. We just don't know. So since I've been getting a lot of questions from startup business owners about how to start a business and how to get it up and running and things that you can do, I wanted to take some time to speak with startup business owners. And I want to let you know while you're watching this live, the reason I'm doing this is to answer questions for startup business owners. So if you've got a question that pops in your mind, if you want to know something about getting a business started, please feel free to pop something into the comments. I'd be happy to answer your questions live while we're going here today. Now, the reason I'm doing this live like this, the reason I'm sharing this information and having this conversation about startups is because, quite honestly, the work that I do with small business owners does not translate really well to startup businesses. It works really well once your business is up and running, once you've got some momentum. But my heart really goes out to people who want to start a business. And the reason you do that is to take care of your family. So I want to make sure you get a chance to take care of your family. I know what happens when a small business makes it. It means you get to hire people, you get to create jobs, you get to take care of your community that way. You get to take care of other people's family by creating those jobs and paying somebody a decent living wage so they can take care of their family. There is so much at stake to starting a small business and being able to keep it running. So I want to do everything I can to support you as a startup business owner. And at the same time, I'm going to say to you, as a startup business owner, this isn't always the best time for us to start working together. Now, I am working one-on-one with some business owners right now who are in that startup phase. And their business plan just works out. They've got a really good plan. The business that they're in makes a lot of sense for us to work together. And there are things I can do that it will help them get started very quickly and then we can work on the strategies that I typically work on. That's not always the case for all startup businesses, and that's why I want to have this open conversation, this open forum like this. So as we're going through this, feel free to pop live questions into the chat, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. If you catch this recording after the fact, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm really happy to share information with you, to point you toward resources to help you start your business and get you started on the right track to get your business up and running. Someday, maybe we will work together, but in the meantime, my goal here is to be of highest service to you by helping your business get going. Well, I do have a few thoughts that I want to share with you today while we're waiting for people to discover this video to hop on with me here. And I want to talk a little bit today about mistakes that can stop you in your tracks while you're trying to get your business up and running, and can really just bring disaster, and it can stop you from creating your business, actually. Now, obviously, you want to start a business because there is the promise that it's very lucrative. It can be very self-fulfilling. It can meet some needs in your life that maybe you're not getting from somewhere else. And at the same time, it is very challenging as well. I just went through all of this, the statistics of how many small businesses end up failing. Now, I'm going to get into some mistakes here, and this is why small businesses fail. I don't want to get ahead of myself here too much. What I do want to say is it is necessary that you try to avoid the common pitfalls of small business owners if you want to make it, if you want to experience success. Now, one of the reasons that one of the problems or challenges small business owners run up against is financial challenges. And those financial challenges it's a major hurdle to try to get over. And you really don't have a lot of margin for error with your finances when you're trying to get your business up and running. So educating yourself on trying to get your business up and running is very, very important. Do make sure that you seek out some professional financial advice when you're trying to get things going. Make sure that you're speaking with the bookkeeper, staying in really close contact with them because they've got some experience about looking at how finances should flow throughout your business. If you get a chance to meet with a CPA who does some consulting work, not just prepare your taxes, but somebody who goes beyond just tax preparation and can give you some consulting, they can give you some ideas about how to structure your finances. They can give you some ideas about, wait a minute, don't make that purchase just yet. So you can get some ideas there of ways that you can structure your business financially. So let's talk to some of the common mistakes that small business owners run into that can stop you in your tracks. Obviously, finances is one of them. And I would wager you probably knew that finances were going to be an issue from the outset. All right, so starting off, one of the very first problems that small business owners run into is failing to listen to your customers. Now, you need to understand why your customers are going to buy your product or service from you and why they don't. Find a way to get feedback from those customers early on. Maybe that can be while you're putting things in the bag. If you're in the store and you're handing them their purchase, you can be asking them, what brought you in today? Why did you choose this product? So ways that you can get feedback. It could be sending out surveys. But you want to hear from your customers. And the reason for that is when small business owners start a business, and I got to say I was a victim of this too. When small business owners start a business, they fall in love with their idea for their business. And I did this a lot. One of the things that I am really good at is I'm really good at creating loads and loads of material. I created courses and books and all kinds of other stuff in the areas of leadership and small business development, only to find out that it wasn't what people wanted. It wasn't what people needed. And I spent a really long time working on all of that stuff before I knew what my potential customers wanted. So this takes on two different approaches then. So it's a matter of listening to your current customers, and at the same time, it's a matter of doing that market research up front before you even get any customers. Don't get so wrapped up in your own idea, in your own plan, that you fall in love with what you have, and then you can't make changes to it. You have to be humble enough to listen to what the market is asking you for. Apple is in a very enviable position, right? Where they can practically tell the market what the market wants. And they can say, oh, look, here's our new gadget and you want it. Not every business owner has that position where you can do that. If you try to sell something to someone and the market just doesn't want it, they're not going to buy it, right? I hope this is logical to you. I hope you understand this. And if they don't buy it from you, you are immediately out of business. So you need to be humble enough to accept feedback. Take ideas from other people. Take ideas from your customers for ways that you can make your product or make your service better. And your customers are your best source of information. Get feedback from them. Ask surveys. Be flexible and change your approach based on the feedback that you are getting. Taking advice from other people doesn't necessarily mean that now you need to give them a piece of ownership into your business. It doesn't mean that you're selling out on your vision. What you're doing is you're giving the customer what they are willing to pay for. Now, if you're still at this point where you're trying to figure out what is my product, what is my service, and you're doing some market research, what I'm going to suggest to you is look for what your competition is already doing. Figure out who your competitors are for the product or the service that you are getting ready to launch. And then learn from them. Study what their websites are doing. Study what they've done there with their websites. Sign up for their free things, maybe, whatever. Get on their mailing list and study what they're doing. There's a very good chance they have already paved the way for you so that you can do a similar thing in your business. The other thing that I want you to watch for while you're doing a search on your competition is find some competitors. You want some competition in the area that you are moving into the area where you're going to start your business. What this means is there is a market there that is willing to pay for your product or service. If you find there's no competition in that area, very likely that also means there are no customers in that area. So be very, very cautious about that. All right, so let's move on. Another common mistake in small businesses is weak leadership. So you don't necessarily have to be a dictator, coming down on everyone all the time and being a micromanager. Small businesses do require strong leadership, though. You will have to be a very strong leader. You will have to crack the whip and say, this is how it's done around here, or else. in some ways. Let me tell you, the typical employee in small businesses is usually the kind of person who is not considered a qualified candidate for a large corporation. You will encounter people coming into your business, and you're going to try to hire people who are going to have some limitations. Let's say you will need to become an inspiring kind of leader by necessity to get this person motivated to do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. You will definitely need to study leadership to begin to grow in this area. I would definitely recommend books by John Maxwell in this area. John Maxwell is one of my favorite leadership authors to go to. There's a great book by Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady that I love to use called Launching the Leadership Revolution. And I consider that book to be like the base for leadership. Read that book. It gives you a really good introduction. But the great thing about that book is it gives you ideas of where you can go with your leadership after you finish that book. Years ago, I was working on my master's degree, and my supervising professor, my mentor, who was getting me through my master's degree, told me sometimes the most interesting reading that you do when you're doing research is actually the bibliography of the book that you're reading. And I will say Launching the Leadership Revolution by Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady is that kind of a book. It's a good jumping off point. The best part of that book, though, is the bibliography. That book will be good at telling you where you have some gaps and where you can improve, but then flip to the back of the book and look for the rest of the book's reference. And that will help you go deeper into some of those areas of leadership where you need to go. Leadership then obviously is going to be a very important part of running your business. And in some ways, like I said, without being a dictator, but you're going to have to be kind of ruthless about things. And the hardest part about this is, honestly, the one you will have to be the most ruthless with in trying to manage and trying to lead is going to be yourself. I like to joke a lot in my business. I joke, I have the worst employee in the world. He won't make phone calls. He's always spending his time focusing on things that aren't important. So managing myself is the hardest leadership job that I have in my business. And you'll find it's going to be the same for you too. Hiring the wrong people. This kind of goes along with leadership. But every company runs across the problem of trying to find the right people. You're going to find yourself in this situation. You get a big order. In order to fulfill that order and help take care of that customer, you have to have people in your business. And you are going to feel under the gun like, I have to have someone in my business right now. Somebody has to fill this seat. Somebody has to do this. Somebody has to take on this task. And you are going to be tempted to take the first warm body with a pulse and a breath who walks into your business. I will tell you, even more mature companies, even large companies will make the mistake of hiring the wrong person. The advantage of if you're in a large corporation is you're able to absorb that mistake and you can recover from it. When you're a small business owner, if the wrong person comes in, it can be so costly to you. You can be severely damaged by hiring the wrong person. It's the time that it took to bring this person in, to do all the interviews, to let some of those other candidates go. It's your time to try to train this person, to bring them up to speed. It's all the headaches and the hassle that you have to go through. It's potentially the lost customers that this wrong person ran off. It's the lost time because they couldn't do the job. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's lost time. There's lost money. There's lost opportunity. You had to pass up on other opportunities because of this person. And the compounding effect of having the wrong person just goes on and on and on. Now, if you don't have someone in a human resources capacity, then you're on your own to figure this out. Take the time to make sure that you don't hire the wrong person, and take the time to make sure this person will be effective in the job. Think about the job requirements. Think about the temperament of the kind of person who needs to be there. Think about their background. In some roles, in some businesses, you may have to be very, very picky about someone's background. In other businesses, you may have more leniency and not need to worry quite as much about someone's background. When it comes to background, though, the one thing I will tell you that you should not waver on is their past work history. What kind of a worker have they been in the past? Because that's very likely to be a good indicator of the type of worker they will be when they come to work for you. Just remember, it is much easier to avoid a mistake than it is to try to fix a mistake. All right, again, I just want to mention, if you're stumbling across this video, we don't have anyone who's joining us live right now, which is fine. So if you find this video later, if you want to reach out to me and ask any questions, ask any kinds of questions. Ask questions about the topic of this video. You can ask questions about just how to start a business. That would be perfectly fine as well. I'm totally open to having a conversation with you. Like I said, giving you the resources, pointing you in the right direction, trying to help you out. All right, let's talk about another mistake that small business owners sometimes make, and that is undercapitalization. So in other words, not having enough money to keep your business going. When that happens, obviously you have to have money to keep a business up and running. If you are fortunate enough to start with some kind of a bankroll at the beginning, whether that was a loan, a grant, some investors, whatever the case may be, you've got some money here, but you've also got expenses as a business. And so your bankroll is gradually being depleted. Your job as a business owner is to begin to make sales and bring in revenue before this bankroll runs out. Does that make sense? You have one job as a business owner, and that is to make money as fast as possible, legally, morally, and ethically, of course. When you go to ask for that loan, though, you may go through your expenses and you may think you know how much you need to ask for that loan to get your business started, or to ask investors to help you get your business started. There are always unforeseen things that come up, and you do not want to be in a situation where you are quickly running out of money and you take a job or you make a decision that may not be maybe it's just slightly on the legal side. Maybe it's not quite moral. Maybe it's not ethical. Maybe you choose to do business with a client or a customer who is not the right fit for you because you think to yourself, kind of out of fear, oh, I need to get that money though, to have that revenue coming in to my business. You don't want to be in a situation like that. What I would recommend is at the outset, if you can get to that bankroll, if you can get to that large fee or that amount that you're using to get your business started, pad that a little bit. Add an extra 20% or a little extra in there so that you've got more cushion than you think you're going to need to get the business up and running. That way you won't feel like you're under the gun. Don't feel pressure to make an improper decision about your business to try to get things started and get things up and running. All right, here's another. Many business owners get their business started and they think they're going to do their thing, whatever their thing is, okay? They're going to sell the crafts on Etsy, or they're going to go out and do the lawn maintenance, or, whatever it is. Pick your thing. The CPA who just graduated from college and now they're going to go out and they're going to start their own practice. Pick your thing, whatever it is. The mistake that the business owners make is thinking that they are just going to do their thing. They're going to create the product, or they're going to sell the product in their store. They're going to offer their service, and that's all they're going to do. And they're going to do such a bang up job that they'll just get referrals, and word of mouth will just come flooding in the door. That's not a bad idea. That's a fantastic aspiration to have for your business. The reality is that is so rare. I mentioned a moment ago, your number one job as a business owner, and I don't care what kind of business you're in, I don't care what industry you're in, I don't care if you're in personal services or professional services, I don't care. Your number one job is to make sales and get the money in the door. And I don't care if you think, I'm not a salesperson. Sales is easy. I'm never going to do sales. I got to tell you, I got to break it to you. If you're never going to do sales, you are never going to have a business. Okay, I'm going to be blunt with you here. You have to pick up sales skills. You have to pick up marketing. You understand marketing. I will say this, and I help small business owners with their marketing strategies. I'm going to tell you this. Do not delegate all of the marketing to some marketing firm outside of your business. When it comes time to management and supervision, you manage that marketing as tightly as you would manage anything else in your business. But you have to have some marketing. It is so important. You've got to have people coming in your door. A lot of times small business owners think they don't have to pay attention to marketing. But again, I'm going to break it to you. Your number one role in your business is you are now a CPA who does, or let me say this in another way. I'm sorry. Let me flip this around. You are now a marketer who provides CPA services. You are now a marketer who provides lawn maintenance services. You are now a marketer who markets jewelry on Etsy. I don't know, make something up, okay? You have to completely reframe your way of thinking. You are now a marketer if you are a small business owner. And that your marketing budget needs to be, you need to have a marketing budget. And one of the things I do with small business owners, one of the ways I help them is to look for marketing opportunities that may not have any cost or could be very, very low cost. But you will need to have some marketing budget. And then as you begin to gain traction, then you can make some adjustments to your marketing budget. But you will need to pay attention to your marketing for your business. All right, I'll tell you what, everyone, I am going to go ahead and wrap it up here. There are a few mistakes that I see that small businesses make. With a small business that's up and running, these are some mistakes I see happening in small business that I speak with on a regular basis. These are some mistakes that as a startup, they could completely wipe you out and stop you from getting started. With other small businesses that make these mistakes, they're already rolling, so they can recover. I do this every Wednesday, so tune in next Wednesday if you want to ask some questions live about starting a business. Feel free to hop on, set your calendar. Forward to speaking with you next week. Until then, everyone, have a great day and to your success.